Also, if an intermediate being, quote, does not find the conditions of rebirth within 7 days, he can assume another body within the intermediate state, end quote. His karma and his destination can change too. Quote, a being of the intermediate state that is to be born as a deity, for instance, may die after 7 days and either again reach the intermediate state of a deity or else reach the intermediate state of a human or some other form. This is possible because a change in its karma can transform the seeds for its intermediate state. The same holds for other beings of the intermediate state as well. End quote. This aspect is extremely important because it shows how unpredictable the intermediate state can be. One never knows what winds of karma will blow on the poor Gandharva, or intermediate being, and change his course from a pleasant to an unpleasant rebirth. His own thoughts, but also the thoughts and actions of others surrounding his dead body, can become great obstacles during the intermediate state. An outburst of anger when seeing his relatives doing something against his wishes, or the arousing of various attachments, may generate the seeds of going in the direction of the lower realms. When the bardo process begins, the consciousness gets out of the body, of course, but this does not mean one is always aware that one is dead. The bardo can be better understood if we compare it to the dream state. When asleep, we sometimes know we are dreaming, while other times we don't know and act like that dream is reality. In the same way, during bardo, we can realize we are dead, and some other times we forget. Also, just like in a dream, the appearances and experiences change many times, and anything can disturb the intermediate being. Thus, if the environment surrounding one's death is very emotional, with people crying, remembering him and his life events with strong attachments, calling his name, or criticizing and hating him, then the consciousness might be affected by giving rise to negative thoughts. This is very dangerous for the bardo being, and may be a great obstacle for a good rebirth. It is exactly because of this that relatives must maintain a peaceful and religious atmosphere around the body of a dead person when it's still held in the house, and also during the entire 49 days of bardo. If the dead person was not a faithful devotee of Amida Buddha during his lifetime, and he was not born in the Pure Land immediately after death, then his karmic destiny is very insecure. Rebirth or reincarnation appears in the following way for those who are to be born from egg or womb. Quote, how does reincarnation take place? The mind, or mati, troubled by defilements, goes through its desire for sex to the place of its realm of rebirth. An intermediate being is produced with a view to going to the place of its realm of rebirth where it should go. It possesses by virtue of its actions the divine eye. Even though distant, he sees the place of his rebirth. There he sees his father and mother united. His mind is troubled by the effects of sex and hostility. When the intermediate being is male, it is gripped by a male desire with regard to the mother. When it is female, it is gripped by a female desire with regard to the father. And inversely, it hates either the father or the mother, with whom it regards as either a male or female rival. As it is said in the Prajnapita, quote, then either a mind of lust or a mind of hatred is produced in the Gandharva, or intermediate being, end quote. When the mind is thus troubled by these two erroneous thoughts, it attaches itself through the desire for sex to the place where the organs are joined together, imagining that it is he with whom they unite. Then the impurities of semen and blood are found in the womb. The intermediate being, enjoying its pleasures, installs itself there. Then the skandhas harden, the intermediate being perishes, and birth arises. That is called reincarnation, prati samadhi. It is in this manner that beings who are born from wombs and eggs go to the places of their rebirth, gati. End quote. Rebirth for hell beings and hungry ghosts or pretas may also occur like this. Quote, if the being of the intermediate state does not have a desire to go to a birthplace, it will not migrate there, and having not done so, will not be reborn there. Take, for example, the case of those who have committed and accumulated karma for rebirth in a hell, like those who have no vow against activities such as butchering sheep or poultry or marketing hogs. In these people's intermediate state, they see as if in a dream sheep and such at their future birthplace, and rush there, driven by their delight in their former habits. Then anger is aroused at the forms which attracted them to the birthplace, at which point their intermediate state ends and they are reborn. Hungry ghosts with goiters and others who are similar to hell beings take rebirth in a like manner. If the being of the intermediate state is to be reborn as an animal, hungry ghost, human, desire realm deity, or form realm deity, it observes at its birthplace delightful beings similar to itself. Then, conceiving a liking and a desire for that place, it migrates there and becomes angry upon seeing the birthplace, at which time its intermediate state ends and it is reborn. End quote. Bodhisattva Vasubandhu also said, quote, "For other beings, say the masters of the Amida Dharma, the modes vary according to the case. Others go in their desire for odor or in their desire for residence. Beings which arise from moisture go to the place of their rebirth through their desire for its odors. These are pure or impure by reason of their actions. Apparitional beings go through their desire for residence there. But how can one desire a residence in hell? The mind of an intermediate being is troubled by lust and hatred, as we have seen, when it goes to be reincarnated in a womb. In the present case, an intermediate being is also troubled in mind and misunderstands. He is tormented by the cold of rain and wind. He sees a place burning with hot fires, and through his desire for warmth, he runs there. Or he is tormented by the heat of the sun and hot winds. He sees a cold place of frozen fires, and through his desire for coolness, he runs there. According to the ancient masters, he sees these things in order to experience the retribution of actions that should be retributed in hell. He sees beings similar to him, and he runs to the place where they are. Intermediate heavenly beings, those who go towards a heavenly realm of rebirth, go high, like one rising up from a seat. Humans, animals, pretas, and intermediate beings go in the manner in which humans, etc. go. Beings in hell hang from their feet. As the stanza says, quote, "Those who insult sages or rishis, ascetics and penitents, fall into hell head first." End quote. Following the explanations of Bodhisattva Vasubandhu, Master Tsongkhapa says the same. Quote, in his commentary on this, Vasubandhu explains that if the being of the intermediate state is to be reborn from heat and moisture, it craves smells, while if it is to be reborn spontaneously, it desires a place and is subsequently reborn there. It further explains that if this being is to be reborn in a hot hell, it craves warmth, while if it is to be born in a cold hell, it longs to be cool. End quote. We should contemplate on the above descriptions of the intermediate state and imagine ourselves there. Even during our present life, we wander in all directions with distracted minds, thus causing ourselves various psychological problems. However, the power of every thought and delusion becomes 10 times stronger when in the bardo, so imagine the danger we may experience there. Let's pretend that some can be successful in achieving liberation in the bardo, but can you, the reader of these lines, be so sure that you are one of them? Even for very advanced practitioners who prepared themselves all their lives to practice in the bardo, there is still plenty of room for errors. But there is no possibility for failure to become a Buddha in the Pure Land if you rely on Amida, because there is not even the slightest trace of your own limited personal power involved in this process. If you have entrusted yourself to Amida Buddha during your life, then his infinite power has been at work all the time, destroying the roots of your karma, and now, when dying, it continues to be active, and it will take you safely to his Pure Land. Thus, while every unenlightened sentient being has to pass through bardo when they die, the Amida devotees don't experience this intermediate state. Shinran Shonin said, Quote, through the karmic power of the great vow, the person who has realized true and real Shinjin, that is faith in Amida Buddha, naturally is in accord with the cause of birth in the Pure Land, and is drawn by the Buddha's karmic power. Hence, the going is easy, and ascending to and attaining the supreme great nirvana is without limit. End quote. He also said in one of his letters, Matosho, quote, I, for my own part, attach no significance to the condition, good or bad, of persons in their final moments. People in whom Shinjin is determined do not doubt, and so abide among the truly settled. For this reason, their end also, even for those ignorant and foolish and lacking in wisdom, is a happy one. End quote. These blessed words should give us true relief and assurance when we think about death and the intermediary state. No matter if we die well in our bed or in the street like homeless persons, no matter if we feel good or bad, if we smile and die peacefully with the appearance of wise people, or we cry because of pain, no matter if our death makes a good impression or not, no matter if we die of old age or in our youth, we're accepted exactly as we are, and we will be born in the Pure Land because of Amida's compassion. In his primal vow, Amida Buddha did not mention a special condition in which we have to die in order to be born in the Pure Land. He just promised that those beings who entrust to him, wish to be born in his land, and say his name, will be born there. In Jodo Shinshu, we are saved during this life. That is, we enter the stage of non-retrogression, that is truly settled, or the stage of those assured of nirvana in the moment. We entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha, and after death we are born in the Pure Land where we become Buddhas. Even after we receive Shinjin, that is faith in Amida Buddha, we continue to live lives like ordinary people, filled with blind passions and illusions, and we can die like ordinary people because of the problems of ordinary people. But this very ordinary person is already received and never abandoned by the compassion of Amida Buddha, and so his end becomes a happy one. Question: can a person who did not entrust to Amida Buddha during his life change his mind and entrust while in the intermediate state? Answer: I do not recall any passage from Shinran, Renyo, Honen, or other patriarchs of our lineage in which liberation through faith while in the bardo was mentioned, but I think it is possible. If the intermediate being hears about Amida Buddha's salvation from a Dharma friend who stays near his dead body and encourages him to take refuge in Amida, or if he remembers a teaching about Amida Buddha he received during his life and decides to entrust to him, say his name, and wish to go to his Pure Land, then I'm sure he can reach that land. However, I do not advise anybody to wait until the bardo to entrust to Amida Buddha, when he can do it so easily in this life. One can never know what karma and ignorance can manifest during the intermediate state that may prevent a person without faith to remember or hear about Amida Buddha. So please, do not misunderstand my answer, and try your best to solve your doubts while you are still alive, so that you can automatically reach the Pure Land when you die. Namo Amida Buddha.